Today we're going to be stripping a floor that has 12 coats of finish on it, which is abnormal. Most finish jobs you're looking at 4 to 6 coats in terms of what you're going to strip off. What we've done here is we've taken cool to warm water, taken 4 gallons, and for today we're going to go 25 ounces to a gallon because of the amount of coats of finish. For a normal stripping job you would go 16 ounces of joust to a gallon of water. Standard mop bucket is 4 gallons. But as I said, today we're going to be taking off 12 coats of finish, which is double the amount. So we're going to go to 25 ounces to a gallon. There's 25 ounces in our measuring cup here. And we will be putting 4 of these into our solution. Simply pour the joust into the, again, cool to warm water. And there we have it. 25 ounces to a gallon of water for heavy stripping conditions, which is what we have today. Again, 12 coats of finish we're taking off. For normal stripping, we're going to mix 16 ounces to a gallon of water. Again, keeping the water cool to warm is the best. We're now on the second step of stripping a floor. Several key points need to be made. When applying stripper to a floor, we want to make sure to wet the entire area, creating almost a lake-like effect with standing water. Simply dip it, pull your mop head completely out, again, creating a complete lake effect to the floor. Allow the stripper to work for 10 to 15 minutes. What we call that is dwell time. We want 10 to 15 minutes of dwell time, allowing the stripper to do the work. During the course of this time, we'll bring in our machine and with a black pad and begin to strip off the finish that we have. Always work in an area that's manageable. We don't want to flood the entire room. We want to work in sections that are manageable, remembering to never ever let the stripper dry to the floor. Maintain its wetness is the key. Again, create a lake effect so that product does the work. The floor will become extremely slippery. What's happening is that it's picking up the actual finish. Obviously it's emulsifying the floor finish. What we call that solution is slurry. Once we start to strip the floor, you'll start to see more and more slurry or finish emulsifying. What we've created here is exactly what we need, and that's a lake effect. You'll notice that there's standing water with solution of stripper. Again, dilution. Today we're running 25 ounces to a gallon because of the amount of coats of finish. For a normal stripping procedure, we want to use 16 ounces to a gallon of cool to warm water. Okay? Again, creating this lake effect and then allowing it the dwell time of 10 to 15 minutes so that the stripper can actually emulsify the finish. After 5 to 10 minutes of dwell time, we'll take our machine, again with the black strip pad, and begin to work up the finish with agitation. It's a standard stripping machine here. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll have a handle release lever right here. Just simply pull up on that. drop it down to a manageable height, normally right around the midsection or your hip section. You want to keep that. It's got a power button here, and then to actuate the actual machine, you're going to want to turn it. So push the button in and you spin. The key to operating one of these machines is to let the machine do the work. Okay? You don't want it out in front of you and have to muscle it. What you want to do is simply have it against your hip and work it back and forth. When stripping off, you want to make certain to work the entire area, not missing any surface. You'll notice the white solution is exactly the slurry that I talked about. Again, this is going to be an extremely slippery surface. So you want to make sure that you're sure-footed. Again, working side to side, allowing the machine to cover every area. Halfway through the stripping process, you'll want to check the pad to see what kind of buildup you have. As you can see, what's happening here is the finish has gotten right into the pad, and the pad is no longer doing its job. What we'll want to do at this point is switch it out to a new pad, which is what we're going to do today, or rinse this out and then reapply it. So. We're going to put a new one on here. The reason for that, again, we want to make sure that the pad is biting into that finish so that we're picking up all of it so that when we do actually pick up the slurry, we're not left with any high spots of finish. Okay? In front of the machine, you'll notice a cloudy appearance. What's happening is we've applied the stripper to the finish, and it's been approximately 15 minutes of dwell time. And what you'll see is it's actually emulsifying the finish, which is exactly what the stripper should be doing. It's ready for us to scrub it now, and at that point we'll then pick up the solution. You can see we're at a point now where we're going to start to pick up the solution or the slurry. There are some points where it's a little bit dry. What I'm going to do is apply some finish
stripper,
excuse me, to those areas just to maintain the wetness. Again, We never want the stripper to dry on the floor. Essentially, now that we're going to pick up the slurry, we want to pull away from the wall any residue or slurry that might be there. Obviously, the machine can't get into tight quarters. We simply take and pull any of the solution away so that we're able to pick it up with the machine. Now that we've picked up the slurry with our walk-behind floor scrubber, you'll notice that the floor still has some finish on it. When we deal with 12 coats of finish, well, they're telling us 12 to 14 coats is what was put on in this room. It's hard to know exactly what dilution to run. We're going to need to go a little bit stronger and reapply our stripper to get off the rest of it. You'll notice this part right here is nice and white. What we did is we got completely down to the floor. Over here, you'll notice some blotchiness and some dark spots. There's still finish on that floor, okay? What we need to do is apply stripper again, agitate it, and then pick it up so that we get it looking just like this, okay? And it's free of any residue, and it's ready for finish. The important thing with tile is we want to get all of the finish off so that we don't have any blotchiness, and so that when we do put the finish down, the tile actually acts like a sponge and absorbs it. Now that we've picked up all of the slurry with the walk-behind floor scrubber, we want to do one rinse. So we'll just take clean water in our mop bucket and make certain to get along all the edges and the corners to pick up any stripper residue that might be left behind. All that's necessary is one quick damp mop to take off any possible residue that might be left behind. Once we're done with this, we will allow it to dry and then begin to put on our floor finish. How do you know when a floor is completely stripped? What you'll notice is that there's no blotchiness, no blotchy spots. One of the tips, though, that if you do miss a spot, what we can do is take our battle axe, apply it to that spot, take a razor blade, and then razor blade up that spot. Wipe it or mop it, and we're good to go. Just kind of a quick tip for taking off little blotches of spots that might still have some finish left on the floor. Now that we've finished with the clear water rinse, we'll want to check for residue on the floor. We'll notice that there's no white residue, meaning there's no stripper residue left. So we're good to go ahead and start to put the finish on the floor. What we're going to use today to apply the finish is an 18-inch flat finish mop. We also have this in a regular mop head style, but the flat finish mop being 18 inches works real well because it's got a swivel head, allows you to get into tight areas, and it also has a pour-through screen. So we're going to just apply the finish through the screen, saturate the mop head, and then put on 3 thin layers of Warrior, which is a 30% solids. Nice thing about Warrior is it's going to give us a sealer and a finish in one. So we're literally done in 3 coats. Let's go ahead and get started. We're simply going to pour a little bit over the top. Again, we need to get the mop head, the flat finish mop head, saturated with floor finish. So we're going to put a little bit more on than we normally would, knowing that it's going to seep through. Okay? And we may put just a little on the floor just to get us started. When we apply floor finish, we want to remember a couple of things. One, we want to make sure we know where our exit point is. We don't ever want to paint ourselves into a corner where we can't get out. So we want to start in the furthest corner, work our way out to our exit point. The second thing that's real important is that we want to do figure 8 style, and we want to frame the wall. Okay? Normally what we're going to see happen is this. You're going to go like this. You go 1 coat right down the edge, slide down, turn your mop, then go right down the side. Go to a point where you're able to just have like a clear break point, like a corner in a wall, a cabinet or whatnot. Spin your head around, come back down with it. Now initially, when putting on floor finish, we need to make sure that we have enough finish on the mop. So we're going to go ahead and put just a little bit more on, and then we should be good for a while. You'll notice